I'd like to formally begin today's webinar. It's titled How Financial Advisors Can Use Social Media to Drive Firm Growth. And at this point, I would like to welcome our featured speaker, Dominic DeAndre. Dominic is co-founder and financial advisor at Dan Derha Wealth Management. Dominic has specialized in investment advisory and financial planning to meet the specific needs of pre-retirees, retirees, and small business owners with over 29 years of investment experience. Dan Derha Wealth Management represents a accumulation of an approach that combines, of course, responsible fiduciary services, excellent client service, innovative thinking. Dominic accomplished this through utilization and integration of new technological integrations. Dominic, thank you so much for joining today. And at this point, I'd like to turn the session over to you to kick off.
Thank you very much, Michael. And I'm happy to see everybody here. And I hope the questions come flowing in. We're going to be talking about, why social media matters to advisors, getting started on social media, building your social media strategy, common social media challenges, and optimizing your postings with tools. Again, any questions that come about, please feel free to ask. This is the biggest thing. More than half the world uses social media. If you're keeping an appointment with a client or prospective client, at least 70% of the people are looking you up in some way, shape, or form. And that means they've made a decision on you in some way, shape, or form. I want them to have gotten to know me, which we're going to learn about as we go along. I want them to feel comfortable with me when I walk in their house. And that makes it even easier. So by doing this and having the social media presence, it knocks down a lot of walls. And we're going to work on that as we speak.
Dominic, let me jump in here.
Sure.
Given that last statistic that you showed and the absolute surge in social media, why do you think social media should matter to financial advisors? I think, in fact, as we were preparing for this webinar, you had a wonderful story about and a wonderful example recently of how social media really can enhance and help your practice. Maybe before diving into some of the specifics here on this slide, perhaps you could share that story.
Absolutely, Michael. That's a great question. If you look at these 5 different topics, becoming a thought leader, everybody's looking at what makes us different. Why are we different? So last Monday, I got a DM from a freelance writer for CBS Money Watch who had asked me if I would answer some questions about long-term care. And, obviously I said yes, because to get your name in an article on CBS Money Watch is incredible. It's great PR. It's great value for me as an advisor. It's great SEO. It's great searching. But I asked him after I had said yes, and I already started looking at the question. I said, well, how did you find me? And what made you pick me? And all he did was put in LinkedIn search long-term care, which I belong to the American Association of Long-Term Care Advisors. So that brought me up there. And he saw that in my tagline, retire was part of what I do. So he felt it was potentially in my wheelhouse. Now, he found me because I'm building a social media presence. I'm building an algorithm. I'm sure there's thousands of people on LinkedIn that have long-term care or retire somewhere in their page on LinkedIn. But that's how he found me, is because there was an algorithm built. And now I've built a relationship with that particular writer because he liked what I was able to answer. They're always looking for sources. I'm in his deck of people he's going to look at. And on top of that, yesterday, one of his colleagues that works for another 2 different publications as a freelance writer connected with me. So every time I can become a thought leader, it enhances my exposure. It enhances my networking. It enhances my personal branding as a go-to person. And if somebody's looking for long-term care and my article comes up and they're looking at somebody else, that could be the differentiator why they call me and why I get the sale, where somebody else might know more than I do. They might have been selling it longer than I do, but the perception is what people see. They don't know us until they meet us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a wonderful example of what you really hit on, right? In terms of building that brand, that reputation in the marketplace as a subject matter expert for additional, opportunities down the line. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, hold on. All right. Now, the social media impact. What has it done for me? If you look here, there's nothing here that is selling something. It's getting people to know me. A bunch of these were at the Jolt conference last year, which happened to be a marketing conference, which I got some great ideas that have helped me grow more. I took some pictures from friends. I do a thing called meeting minutes when I'm at a conference. And what that is it enhances my credibility, enhances my communication. When a client or prospective client looks me up and they see my meeting minutes, I'm talking about what I'm going to learn that day. So I'm showing them that it's not just I'm going on a trip because I want to party. I'm going, or I think I know everything as an almost 30-year advisor. I believe I can always learn. And I bring that about in my posts. I bring that about in my presentation. And I use video because we can all type something, but video content is one of the most watched things. So anytime you can do something in a video and they get to see your personality, they get to learn about you. You might interview people like I interviewed, there's another post here where I interviewed some other advisors to see what they wanted to get out of the conference to show value. I'm a Star Wars fan, so I got a picture with a stormtrooper. It was around May 4th, so that it was on May 4th the conference, so they brought that there. There's another key thing you see. And if you look at the post, I tag people. That's the big thing. People will write "Thank you, Dominic," and write Dominic. The best thing you can do to build your algorithm is put @ Dominic and then tag me in the post, because as you're doing that, my people are seeing it, your people are seeing it, and you're building your algorithm up. So if you're going to put somebody's name in or somebody's company in, make sure it's in blue. Like you see, all of these names are all in blue with either a hashtag or the @ prior to it. So it's building the algorithm. It's building my presence. Then, again, we have to show some stuff. We have to show business stuff. That's what I use, our resources for. I have my social media, marketing team I use through Cetera. Broadridge has their great team that they use. Find one that works for you, because you have to show the business stuff. But these 3 posts, these are automatic. I set them and forget them, so then I can have fun with like what I just showed you on the last page, because that's, again, the most important thing, is getting to know me.
Yeah. Hey, Dominic, while we're talking about business and these wonderful examples of business-oriented posts, there are a number of questions that have come in around, you can guess it, the big compliance question. And maybe you can share some of your experiences around how you meet some of the compliance requirements, and maybe your overall philosophy of working with your compliance department.
Absolutely. That is a fantastic question. And I've done numerous of these types of calls in different scenarios and venues. That's the biggest question: compliance. Everybody's afraid of compliance. The first thing you have to remember with compliance is they're there to protect us, but they're not in sales. They're there to protect us. So they might not understand why you're doing this or how come this is going to benefit you. If you're going to go into a venture like this, or you're going to be going to conferences and try different things out, talk to them. Call your compliance department. give them an understanding of where you're going to be doing, what kind of marketing you plan on doing. Ask them what pitfalls may be there, because the pitfalls, if you put them in there, like you don't say the guarantee word. If you notice, none of my organic posts sold a product. You don't talk about rates of return. You don't talk about specific clients. So if you're having fun and you get them to understand where you're going, any kind of pre-approval your compliance department might need or want prior to posting, once they understand where you're coming from and they see that this is something you're doing on a regular basis, they're going to approve you much quicker. You know, my stuff doesn't sit in my compliance department for 3 days, 5 days a week. They know that if I'm at a conference, it's timely. You know, if I'm at a meeting minutes and I did it this morning, I send it right to them right away because I want to get it out sometime that morning, and they know that. Again, I've got my verbiage down that it's virtually the same thing I say every time, you know, minus what the topics are that day, obviously, in the conference, but they know that. So when they see it, it's almost getting a rubber stamp. They, okay, this is good. We know Dominic's done this before. So the first time you do it, they might question it. And again, the one word that I never take is no for an answer, unless I said something that they said to me, look, you can't say that verbiage. I'll always have the conversation with them politely, explain to them that I love that they're there to protect me, because again, we want to be protected. We want compliance, but we also want compliance to not look at us as we are arguing with them, because it's going to come down to something that you might need help with. And if you don't have a good relationship with them because you argued with them too much, make sure when you go to bat, you know it's something that has legit benefits on how it's going to help you grow. Tell them a story. You know, I'll give you a story. You know, one thing that benefits me, I don't have any in this particular deck, but my daughter's a competitive dancer. And I couldn't tell you how many times I've gone to parents' houses where they have young girls. They've seen my daughter's a dancer. And the first 20 minutes of the conversation is, how's competitive dance? What dances does your daughter like? What pointers could you give us? Anything that has to do with dance, that's the conversation. And I tell, you know, I've told compliance those stories. I'm like, look, these things turn into great conversations that end up knocking down the wall. Because if you've had a conversation about your kid and their kids and a connection of what their kid could be doing, like your child, how many of you think you're closing a sale either by the end of that appointment or by the next appointment? I can tell you right now, every one of those conversations has been 100% closure ratio, because I've knocked down the wall. I've differentiated myself in that sea of sameness. And that's what all my organic posts and the things I do make me different than somebody else. Like these 3 posts here is what makes me the same as every one of you. You have to do those because they have to know you're a financial advisor or whatever you're doing in the field. They have to know that. There has to be professionalism in there, but they're there just to help me out. They're actually my least interactive, unless it's something really phenomenal or really timely. I'll get my likes, I'll get my comments, you know, I'll get my interactions, but my organic blows them away tenfold or more.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what I'm hearing is you have to make the investment in your compliance team and understand, you know, what their guardrails are, but give them insights into what your social media strategy is, and provide them real life how those posts fit in with that strategy. And still meeting, you know, the requirements. One other question came in before we move on, just backing up to your comment about links or hashtags and @
Yes.
The question is, do you need to also include a specific link to the hashtag or the @ person, or can you provide a little bit more insight around the mechanics of the hashtag and the @ signs?
fantastic question. And we're all new to everything at some point in our lives. So I didn't understand this 100% when I first started doing this. The ad sign. So it's real simple. If you're talking, I'll use me as an example, Dominic DeAndrea. So if you just do at sign and then start spelling my name out, if we're connected in some way, shape, or form, it's going to populate my name and it's going to already be there. And that's going to work for a person or a company that's on LinkedIn. If the person or company is not on LinkedIn, the at sign will not work because they don't have a connection to LinkedIn. That's where the hashtag comes in. Most conferences do not have a LinkedIn account. So you can do a hashtag for the conference. Or if you're at a conference and they're talking about, they want to promote it on social media. Look, I want to help them promote it on social media. So they might say, Jolt Conference 2024 is this year's hashtag. So I'll hashtag Jolt Conference or succeed, whatever the verbiage is, they'll give you something that they want to tag to, because then they can use it on their benefit and we can benefit from it also in how we present it. Then you'll notice here, Financial Literacy Month. Some hashtags you're going to put at the bottom of your post. That's where your SEO comes in. That's what you want to utilize as key points to bring people to that post. Because as you're building your algorithm, if you just type something up, this Financial Literacy Month is great, but they might not find this post. But when they're searching hashtags, because people do look them up, you put that there. Now when they're looking Financial Literacy Month, this might be what pops up and brings me to their forefront, which is what we ultimately want. We're doing this because we want our presence known. We're doing this because we want people to find us. I know I talked about a story a few minutes ago about getting an article, which I'll go back to a client story, which is one of my more recent clients, just so you can hear that there's clients finding us also. As I stated, I've done numerous of these types of calls and speaking engagements. And what happens there is my name gets tagged. And when your name gets tagged, it gets put into Google. And I got a call a couple months ago, basically that a wife did a Google search and I was at the top of their list. And the husband called me and said, my wife said, we absolutely have to sit down with you. We sat down the next day. They became a client the next week. And then we did numerous pieces of business over the next few weeks of different things I needed to help them out with. And I asked them, I said, what made you pick me after we went through all that process? And by doing that, they're like, well, when we Googled you, we saw all your things you're doing. And that deemed me as an expert. Like even today, this is going to show up in my Google presence eventually. Even though it's helping you guys out, and I hope you guys come away with numerous things that can benefit you and grow your business, because we're all here to help each other grow. But ultimately, somebody's going to see this. And again, they're going to see me speaking for another major company in the industry. And it's going to get me a client. So if you get an opportunity to get interviewed, even if it's a local newspaper, make sure you know the topic, because obviously you want to come across intelligent, but say yes. Even if you're nervous, say yes. Because it can build you more connections, and B, it builds you a bigger presence online when you're being searched.
Yeah, it's really truly leveraging that network effect for sure.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
A funny thing was, as I said, I do videos. Well, I share. People ask me what was I using? What was the gadget I was using when I was doing it? This was this post I made. I took I used this particular Lume Cube Lite, this particular Joby Grip Tight, and a Rode microphone. It was about, this whole setup was probably about $150, $180, give or take. I've invested in a few other pieces of equipment since then. That's a big thing. If you're going to create content and video for social media, don't cheap out. People can hear bad sound. People can see bad lighting. People will see shaky cameras. Like anytime I video, I have some kind of a stable, something that's going to help me keep it stable. I don't want you watching my videos and it's like this. You're going to get sick. You're not going to want to look at it. And it lost all the effect of doing what I was trying to do. So you want it to be smooth. The other thing I do when I'm doing these types of videos, where it's informative, where I'm just trying to get information out of what I'm doing that day, or I'm talking to somebody at a conference, because I bought the tech I bought to help with that, I don't edit it. I post it as is, and people see that. That's getting to know the human side of me. I do have professional videos, a professional video on my website. I have a few different professional videos in different places, but things like this, again, brings out my human side. It shows them that I'm not just somebody that doesn't, that wants to be everything to be perfect, because everything in life's not. So I utilize it in that way to help show that side of me. But again, make sure you get the right tech that can give that right presentation so it looks and sounds professional, but it has the feeling of personal. Again, I know Jolt happened to be a lot of pictures that when I was building this deck, but it also builds other opportunities. Here I was at a Napa conference last year, and this gentleman, we were talking, and he learned about my social media presence through a conversation. He's like, "Wow, that's incredible. Can we talk to you?" And because he could see I had an idea what I was talking about, I met him the day before we did this at the conference. We were just talking about his products and his company, and we're talking about social media and what he was doing and their Wavelength podcast, and I was telling him what I was doing. And the next day, me and my business partner, Stefan, got to do an interview, and we got a podcast out of it. Don't be afraid to talk. Don't be afraid to tell people, who you are, but in a nice way, not a bragging way, not like you're just the best, that you understand what you're doing and how you can help and benefit, not just that you know everything, because I don't know everything. And every conference I go to, if marketing, tech, or social media or anything of those sorts is one of the sessions I'm at a conference, I can guarantee if you're at the same conference I'm at, you'll find me in that session, because I'm always looking to see what other people are doing. I do see a question that I will take on. How often and where are you posting? Which is a fantastic question. When I first started doing this a few years ago, where I started building my presence up, I put on my schedule between 8 and 8:30, because it's usually not time that I'm keeping appointments. Home office isn't open yet. Most clients don't want to be called between 8 and 8:30 unless there's something they need us to help with. Most clients aren't calling me then. Most of the year, my children or my wife are out, so I'm free to sit down on my computer and play on social media. So I make sure that I post once a day as a goal. But the more important thing is that I also make sure I try to go comment, because posting is great. That'll help you. But when you comment and have conversations on other people's posts, again, it's bringing you up. It's bringing you up in the algorithm. It's helping people find you. LinkedIn is my primary place, because that's where I'm finding the most potential business owners and potential prospects. I do post on. I do have a Facebook account. I do have a TikTok. Sorry, not TikTok. X account, and I do post there also. But LinkedIn has been the biggest presence for me, or Google My Business, where I make sure I put things on there. Because again, people search you. Google's the best way they're going to find you at first, and then it'll lead them to my variety of things I'm doing. And again, family. So actually, this funny part was, this was actually after the Napa conference that I did the podcast on. I'm with my family. It worked out perfect time-wise that the Easter holiday was at the end of the conference, and I was already in California, so they flew out, and I met them at the airport, picked them up, and we went and spent the holidays at Disney and Universal. So it was my first time seeing them. But again, I'm showing them I'm out with my family. I have a family. These are my, these get to know me. I'm not financial advisor robot that just sits there and does things. And that's, again, they want to know you. They want to know you're a human being. I hope that's the theme a lot of you are getting as we're speaking, as we're talking about this. And this is my dog, Cooper. Hopefully some of you will laugh as I say this. Cooper is my chief rollover specialist. He's on my website. But what I do is every holiday, I write a post. They've gotten better since this one. I actually use AI for this. And I'll type in some stuff about the holiday and different things that dogs might do. And then I'll use a prompt for that. Write this in a dog's perspective. I'm going to update this so I have one of those in my deck the next time I do this presentation, because they're better than these. But I'll get woof woofs, I'll get barks. Like this year's St. Patrick's Day post was, if you see me, one of the things he said was, if you see me running around the backyard, I might be playing, but I might be chasing that leprechaun a pot of gold. Come out and see me. Worst case scenario, we have some fun. Best case, something about, best case scenario, you get some gold. But it was just a fun post, and people love that because, again, what do people love? Children and pets. So Cooper is, every holiday, you will see a post of Cooper in some kind of holiday garb. He's got a great groomer that I coordinated all of his groomings to right around holidays, and then she'll put the bandana on for me, and her backgrounds have even gotten better. If you look at more recent posts there, she's done some AI backgrounds that have different things going on them that make the pictures even more cool for that holiday. But again, it's something I'm having fun with. It's something that people love, and I use them in so many different marketing pieces. Like I have a pitch deck I use for 401ks as a marketing piece. He's in it as my chief rollover specialist. People love it, because everything doesn't have to be 100% professional. Now, but as I say that, if you notice, there's one thing in these pictures: you don't see me chugging a beer or doing a keg stand, or you're have fun, show them your fun side, show them you have a life, show them you have a family, but in a polite, professional manner that still shows them you as somebody that is there to help them and can grow from that. Without leveraging social media, you may struggle with building a successful brand, connecting with prospects and clients, sharing valuable resources, reaching a wider audience, staying up to date with industry news, networking and partnership opportunities. These are all things you can't. I'm wearing a Dandora Wealth Management golf shirt right now today. That's great. You guys are all seeing that, and my brand from Michael saying it earlier. None of you are going to become a client of mine for financial advice, because I got to believe that's what 90% of or more of you do on this call. But everything I do is branding. Everything I do has our green coloration and our name on it. It's hard to connect with prospects and clients just randomly, but if you have a presence online, now you can do that. Now you can connect with clients. You can, when you see a client comment on something, when you see a client post something, anytime a client posts something on social media, I will get in there and say hello, say that's a great conversation, I love your children, whatever it might be. I'm getting involved in it because they're friends. Most people know a lot of the people that I know social media, especially Facebook, you could have people you went to high school with and whatnot, but most people know a lot of the people I get people say, who's Dominic? He's always commenting on your stuff. Oh, he's my financial advisor. It's just another way, another touch point with the client. It's another way to benefit and how you can grow your business. It's also another way to show your client you care. Sharing valuable resources. You got to put out things that you do, how you could help people. Videos you can put out there in a way that works, that that they get to see that you have some form of knowledge. But you got to be consistent with doing that. I know, one of the things earlier, If you post once a month, I can promise you're not a thought leader. I can promise you nobody's finding you on an algorithm. They're going to find you because they knew your name and they searched you. The resources need to be semi-regularly. I would recommend anyone on this call that hasn't done it already, don't go in 5 to 7 days a week. Go in twice a week, once a week. Something that maybe after a month you're up to 2 or 3 times a week. Maybe after 2 months you're up to a few more times a week. You're commenting a little more. You got to build it up. Do not jump into this head first and expect that you're going to be the greatest at it. I see a question that just came in about, somebody working for a small firm without their own compliance department. Compliance is definitely going to give guardrails. Not having one definitely could be a hindrance. But again, as long as you hold to some steadfast rules, you're not going to get in trouble. Don't post product. Don't try to sell anything out there. And I would never, ever, ever get involved in any kind of political posting or conversations, because that's only going to bring negative stuff to you, because no matter what your belief is, somebody else has a different belief. And I don't care what your belief is right now in this call, because I'm not going to give mine because it doesn't matter. But don't do it. So as long as you keep it to professional, you keep it to explanations, like, if you don't have your own compliance department, there's plenty of marketing firms. Like I said, Broadridge has some great content articles that you can utilize. There's other, if you have a website, the website company might have some great things. Start with those for your business stuff, because those are all things that these people vetted. So you're going to be safe. If you're posting something that a Broadridge or another marketing company has put out there, they vetted this because they don't want their reputation to get damaged. All my personal stuff, there's no guarantees in there. There's no bad things. It's getting to know me. So if you post things like that, FINRA's never going to come at you. They're looking for the bad words. They won't even, FINRA, until you build up such a large algorithm, they won't even know you exist unless you put in, like I said, you put the guarantee word in a lot, guess what? You're going to get a call from somebody saying you're not supposed to be doing this. Why are you doing this? These are bad words. And you don't want to do that. Networking and partnership opportunities. You do, like, I'm big into charities. I'm big in, and I network at charitable events, and I post that I'm at charitable events. This does not work if you don't care about the charity. And if you show up once, you can't go to a charity and say, oh, I love XYZ charity. I was there once, and you're never there again. I got a 401k because I kept going to the same charity, and a particular client said, oh, I see that you like this charity. I see you're here. I see you're giving back. I still give back. I didn't stop giving back to that charity or that organization. In fact, I'm doing, for an organization I belong to, MDRT, I'm actually interviewing that charity for the organization because I love them so much. You got to be a real person in all of these things. Anything you post, you got to believe in. Anything you do, you have to believe in, because people will see that you don't believe in it. Do I have LinkedIn Premium? I do have it. It is worth it for me because I do different things in searches, and it gives me more messages I can do and different things I can do at the level I'm at. If somebody is just starting out, get used to doing it first. Utilize it. When you start seeing success and you start building up a good deck of connections and a good presence, then and only then would I suggest potentially trying it to see if it works for you and your business. But I wouldn't jump into this. I didn't get LinkedIn Premium until last July, and I had already built a fairly large presence prior to getting it. I've already built up a rapport where people have asked me to do these things. So that's when you realize that you have built a good presence. I go to a conference, and people are like, Dominic, I turn on LinkedIn and your face is one of the first I see every morning. That's what you want to hear. When you hear stuff like that, and not Dominic, it'd be your name, obviously, that means you've made it. That means you're built up your algorithm. It's not my opinion. It's people are telling you they see you, and that's things that you can't get day one. It's a process. Do not go into this thinking you're going to get clients, thinking you're going to get interview opportunities day one. You're wasting your time. Build a process, build a presence, get comfortable with it. And there's a wonderful saying, if you build it, they will come. You will get benefits from it. And like I said, you're going to get benefits right away that you don't even realize you're getting, because everybody that looks at you doesn't know you don't know they're looking, because everybody doesn't tell you. There's a lot of stalkers in the world.
Yeah. Dominic, you have provided some really wonderful examples. I think, as advisors are considering getting into this space, I know, on the next slide here, you have some really good tips as you start to provide some guidance around, platforms, content development. So maybe you can sort of focus on, what that getting started package looks like for advisors.
Absolutely. Great question. The biggest, for lack of a fail, I see when I look at LinkedIn posts, and I've actually updated this. I got rid of this because this financial planning process, because it was too little. I made this bigger with our coloration. But this area right here, this header, you'd be shocked how many people have the gray LinkedIn header. Right off the bat, you've lost people. You've 100% lost them, because you left blank space that they know that somebody else has something there. I created this on Canva. I love Canva for that, for helping create stuff. There's a free version, there's a paid version. I use the paid version because I use it a lot and I want to have all the functionality. You can try out the free version, but make sure you have a header. Make sure you have something that talks about what you do in a fun way. Not, I am a financial advisor. Don't just retire, thrive. Get the help you need to maximize your savings and live your best life yet. Does that tell you what I do? Does that tell you what I sell? No, it tells you how I might be able to help you. That is going to pique your interest to say, let me ask some questions about how I can live my best life yet. And I've had those questions asked to me. Then I say I'm a co-founder, a financial advisor, fiduciary, a speaker. But definitely want to have a professional headshot. You don't want to be at the beach in a bathing suit. You want to have something that looks professional, good lighting, and up to date. I don't have a great hairline anymore. I did 30 years ago. So if I put a picture of there when I first started in the business with a full head of hair still, and then I walk in your house, you're gonna be like, who is this guy that I saw online? So keep it up to date. If you notice the green is behind me, that's a trick, you can do with some AI software. I do with Canva, where you can take away the background, and I put the green because I want people, when they see green on social media, they're not just thinking about money. They look that it might be a Dandara post, so I want them to stop and look. Again, I chose LinkedIn for me as a site because that's where I've gotten the most benefit from. There's a post, the benefit of boosting posts on Facebook. I haven't done it. I'm not saying don't try it. Look, there's a great hockey player that said, you miss all the shots you don't take. If you got some time, take it. Should you run an ad? I've tried ads. Again, like I said, it's not something that I have felt has been beneficial to me, but I know people it's worked for. Again, going back with optimizing your online appearance. Different posts, different things. Again, here seeing it in a bigger thing. They've added other stuff now. My new LinkedIn has book an appointment here. That's a functionality that you can add. That's on all functions. You go into your profile section and you can add your website, which I already have there. You can add a calendar link. So I use a program called Calendly, and I have that there. So now you can get it there. I see somebody wants to getting LinkedIn info. I do have to update my slides on that. I actually learned something with SEO. This is hot off the presses. I used to have my LinkedIn post as DeAndrea CI as my thing. I changed it to Dandara Wealth Management Dominic, and my business partner is going to be Dandara Wealth Management Stefan, because somebody with SEO told me when somebody types in as a search, it's another way to find me easier. So if you do want to find me, just take a picture of this slide real quick. I know they're going to record it. Just search my name and you'll find me. If you search any person, you'll find them that way also. So I do have to update the slide with the contact information, because I did just, actually last night just updated my URL for Facebook, my URL for LinkedIn, and my URL for Twitter or X, because of guidance I was given by somebody when they were reviewing my stuff. Because again, I can learn also. Branding, we talk about branding. This was done at a charity event that we did for one of the organizations we were helping out. So we have our slide. And what I did was I brought, we have a nice background we bring to events, which we can use for social media. But I was able to email or text anybody that wanted a picture of them and their families at it. And if they put it on their fridge, well, first of all, if you know, it's Dandara Wealth Management. So if it's on their fridge, who's Dandara Wealth Management? And obviously I promoted the Autism Society, which was the organization that we were helping out that night at the aquarium. But now it's a way that when anybody looks at that picture, they're going to think of us or anybody that's at their house, because you got a picture of your family. Now people, who's Dandara? So it's another way of branding, marketing. I put this on social media. So again, people see that we're innovative. They see that we do things for organizations, and we're constantly helping out and doing things to benefit our clients. But again, this stuff didn't cost me much. That's my iPad. I got an app on the Apple Store. I bought the ring light for better lighting, because again, presence, lighting helps out. I think this cost me like $50, the whole setup, and I've used it numerous times. I've even used it at family parties. If my daughter has a kid, her friends over, they can do selfies and make their own backgrounds and whatnot. So you can get other value of your investments you use for your business, depending on your situation. I see a question regarding political postings and about the dog or family, or children. First, like I said, political posting, 100% stay away from. All you're asking for is negative comments. And the last thing you want to do is have negative comments because you're really not, that's a compliance thing. They don't want you removing stuff, because especially if they can see what you're doing. And if they see that you're removing stuff, it could be something that hurts you. They could look at it and say, why are you doing that? So stay away from that. Posting about a dog. If you do not have a dog, post about your family and children. Do not create a dog that's not yours, because people might ask you to see a picture. You don't want to get caught in a lie. Cooper is my dog. He's upstairs right now. Thank God he's being quiet, or you'd hear him barking if the postman comes, or if there's a rabbit or a bird or something in my front yard, you might hear him bark. If you're going to tell people you got a dog, it's your dog. If you tell people you got a pet, it's your pet. If you tell people it's your wife and kids or husband and kids or whatever, that's fact, because you don't want to get caught when somebody asks you a question and you fabricated something on social media. That's the worst thing you could ever do. So don't create something just to do something that I'm doing. It has to be you. Again, building your social media. What are some goals with social media? Again, mine was to be consistent. Mine was to be consistent commenting, consistent posting, consistent building content. That was something that took time. Identify my target audience. I'm looking, again, for pre-retirees, into retirees to help them solve their retirement income distribution strategy. I'm also looking for business owners. So I try to keep a lot of business stuff or additional things I do added to that. I know I'm doing a decent job of that because I was found because of long-term care and retirement, which long-term care is a retirement planning strategy. So that helped me feel good about myself when I got found that way. A specific posting schedule. What works for me is between 8 and 8:30. I try to do it every day. Some days it's different. Some days, if I'm at a conference, it might be other times because something comes up. If it's a family event or something going on during the day, I'm not going to not post, but I try to keep it the bulk of the days. If I'm going on vacation, I might sit on a plane and, you can pre-schedule posts. It's when you're doing a post, you can pre-schedule. You just post it on Wednesday at 9:00. So I might try to do that if I know I'm going to be on family vacation. So it looks like I'm still doing my consistent posting, but I'm utilizing a benefit LinkedIn gave. And then when I'm sitting somewhere, I'll make sure I do the comments, but at least I know I got my post out. And then as I'm sitting down at the table or whatever I might be doing on that vacation, I'll get in there and do some comments because, again, I want to keep myself, it won't be as many, but I want to make sure I still get something out there because I still want to keep it going. How do you measure success? Again, it's not measurable day one, but you will, if you do this and you do it consistently, you will get results in some way, shape, or form. The beginning ones are going to be people telling you they saw you, people, asking you questions, but then it's going to come into clients. I love this question. How do you become annoying spam if posting every day? First of all, everybody's not on LinkedIn every day. Number one. Number two, it's not an email. So I'm not sending them 100 emails to their email box. Guess what? They can scroll right past it. Guess what? If they're finding the content is not valuable to them, they'll unlink me. It's okay. So I would not worry about that, because how many times you see the same corporation posting similar times in the same day? Post. Again, things, especially when you're new at it, you're not at the top of the algorithm. So getting a few things out there. If I go online at 1:00 and you posted at 8, but then you posted at 12, I probably, unless I really want to look at your stuff, I'm probably not going to see the 8:00 post. I saw the 12:00 post. So I would not worry about that. I would just post. Don't post 100 things about the same thing. When I go to my daughter's dance competitions, I try not to post 30 posts of all of her dances and 30 pictures of her. I try to make a collage or a few, a bunch in one post about that topic. But if something comes up that's timely or there's a reason, post it. You're not going to lose. I do have different things, newsletters that I augment, that sent out to clients, but that's done through my marketing platform I use that brings stuff out there that's going on in the world. So again, it's a combination of a few different things. If you notice, I've talked about tech, I've talked about Google My Business, I've talked about social media, a website. It's all encompassed into one thing. Just build it slowly. Don't try to jump in and say, I need to plan everything day one. We've talked about a lot of this stuff. Native content. People want to know who you are. I know we're coming towards the end of the call today. Activity and scheduling. Again, you want to stay top of mind. That's why I don't believe, I haven't seen my numbers go down in any kind of numbers that I've noticed. I connect with people all the time, so I can't say I haven't lost 1 or 2 people here and there. But it hasn't been I lost 100 people. So if I can tell you that I post regularly and I haven't had any kind of precipitous drop in my connections, I'm pretty confident that you shouldn't. I can't guarantee that, obviously, but you shouldn't. And again, unless you're posting stuff that's turning people off, that is not pertinent, or opinions. I don't post opinions in anything. I know I talk about politics, but I don't post opinions. I post facts that are verifiable because, again, I don't want to get into heated. I want to have fun conversations. I want to have somebody say, "Oh, that's a great article. I loved reading about this." The article. The article I was posted in CBS Money Watch. One of my wholesalers. It's great seeing you being thought as a thought leader in the industry. I said, "Oh, great." And then he's like, "Oh, go." Then we had a little play fun. He's like, "Oh, you should be," because it was last night. He saw it, and I responded. And he's like, "Go have fun with your family." I'm like, "What are you doing?" Because he's a dad of triplets, and he laughed. So you can have fun with these people, and that's the kind of things I want to have. Not, "Oh, well, you like that person, I like this person, and your person stinks." And again, notice I haven't said any names because I don't care. You're never going to hear me say it. You're never going to hear me show it because it doesn't matter. Because there's 180 people on this call. Everybody has different opinions. They're all valid in their mind. Keep them. They're yours. I'll keep mine. They're mine. Let's talk about facts. Let's talk about growing. Let's talk about benefiting each other. Exposures, likes and shares. I share posts. If somebody posts something valuable, I share it because it's good information to share on my thing. Depending on what the post is, I might reshare it with my thoughts because I really want to add value to it. Or if I feel it's just a good post from my audience, I'll repost it and bring their audience into my audience. That's, again, depending on the post. What tools can you leverage to streamline your posting schedule? Like I said, the biggest thing is if you don't have time to do it regularly, set an hour aside where you could make some posts and schedule them out. It's real easy. You can, again, if you have a marketing group, like I said, Broadridge has theirs, and there's other, people that do it also. Look at what their platform is. Look at what the cost is. I gotta believe Broadridge has a scheduling app where you can automate their posts. Right, Mike?
Yes, through a different group,
right.
the Broadridge Advisor Solutions Group.
Right.
They have a whole marketing platform that.
Right, and they have scheduling.
But maybe we can drill down into this a little bit more as we're getting close to the end here. There is, sort of that question around time management that I know are on a lot of advisors' minds. It comes up in almost every meeting or conference that I'm at is, we have 1,000 things on the list. How do we create a structure, a discipline to incorporate a social media strategy into everything else that we're doing? So I know you shared some tips around, sort of the 8 to, and you said 8 or 8:30, but you didn't provide a back end to that. Are you scheduling an hour? Or are you going, 8 to 9, and then
it's
getting on with the rest of your?
It's actually 8. It's actually 30 minutes. It's 8 to 8:30.
Okay.
So that was a great question. I'm sorry if I didn't explain it in detail, but it's actually my consistent time is 8 to 8:30. And again, I built that up to be regularly. So to build a strategy and a theme, a saying I say with clients all the time: if you have a train that's at a dead stop and I put a penny in front of it, the train can't start. It can't get traction because a penny's blocking it. Now, if the train's moving and I put a penny down, it's getting flattened. So slide the penny away, pick a day next week or this week, depending on your schedule, because I know it's already midweek, almost. Pick a day and say, okay, starting on Wednesday or Thursday, whatever it might be, I'm going to start posting. I'm going to start commenting and do that. Then add to that and add to it. Do not jump in head first. This will not be something that you'll succeed at because you'll get frustrated. I did not do what I'm doing today because I've been doing this for a little over 3 years that I've been consistently doing this and seeing benefits from it. I did not do what I'm saying to you guys today 3 years ago because I wouldn't be talking to you today if I did. I would have got turned off. So start slow, pick a couple points from today. I'd be more than glad to answer any questions at any future date. I have no problem here. I love helping out. I love social media. Pick something, benefit. Time constraints. I happen to be lucky. I use a company called Nitrogen. I try not to use other companies' names when I'm talking about this one. They have an AI platform that, as a customer, I get to use. What I love about it is they took ChatGPT and took out all the fluff and pumped in a lot of extra financial. So it helps me get better content posts. And going back with the compliance question, here's a great compliance thing. When you're doing AI, my last sentence I will write this in a compliant manner. That's the prompt I use. Prompts are great. It'll take out all the stuff that a compliance department would not like or might not like. And guess what? Every time I've done that prompt, I've never gotten something kicked back. Branding. These are some various posts I've used, created. I had a friend that was creating these that I was paying him, and now I've been doing it on my own. But our greens, if you got a branding color, use it, because people get used to seeing your color. So when they're scrolling, whatever that branding is, let them see your branding. Everybody asks where you can find me. Like I said, this slide I have to update. But again, if you type my name in, people have found me. I've gotten a few connection requests as we're speaking. Obviously, I'll address that after the call because I want to give you guys my attention. But if you type my name in, you're going to find me. These will all be updated. Like I said, Twitter and LinkedIn are my bigger ones that I use more often. Facebook, I don't have on it. But again, I change that. The big thing is I change all of these to Dandara. Twitter, you actually can't do it long, so it's Dandara Dom, and my business partner will be Dandara Stefan. LinkedIn is Dandara Wealth Management Dominic instead of Dandara CI, which is Cetera Investors, who's my broker dealer, but I brand under my DBA. So are there, as we're coming to a close, I only have a couple minutes left, are there any other questions that anybody wants to put in the chat? I mean, these questions have been fantastic. I appreciate them. And I'm always open. If you send me a DM, you have a question about something, I will respond to you. If I'm busy with clients, obviously that's going to take a precedence, but I will get you, I will send you an answer at some point within a reasonable amount of time to benefit. Because again, I want everybody to succeed. I want this, the odds of me competing with one of you in something is not that high. And not because I'm better or you're better. We all live in different geographical areas. We're all working with different clients, and there's a few 100 million people in this country. Let's all help each other grow. Let's get better.
Awesome. Well, that's all the time we have today. I want to extend a very special thank you to Dominic for sharing his real world insights and experiences with our community. To our audience, thank you for your time and attention. Please consider completing the short feedback survey at the end of the session to inform future webinars. With that, we will conclude today's session. Have a great afternoon.